It is Wednesday, and I have absolutely no clue what that means, especially tonight. Here we go. Buckle up. It's time. Crazy week. Craziest year in professional wrestling history. AEW in utter turmoil. CM Punk injured. Elite suspended. Tony Khan to address the AEW title and the Trios title situations tonight on Dynamite. Chris Jericho is also set to address the AEW Galaxy. We also have some matches on tap, and that guy MJF that turned back up at All Out, I think, is also scheduled to appear. Big question marks surrounding tonight. Do we see a new AEW champion crowned tonight, or does Tony Khan announce plans moving forward as to what to do about the AEW title? You guys let me know in the chat. Welcome, everyone. My attempt was to get up here a little bit early, hopefully 10 minutes early. I only got up here 3 minutes early. I apologize for that, but we are ready to rock and roll for Dynamite. TBS is pulled up. Big Bang Theory is wrapping up. Oh, no, it's not Big Bang Theory. It is, oh yeah, it is Big Bang Theory. I had the wrong channel on. I had Despicable Me on. Big Bang Theory is wrapping up. Dynamite's about to start. I am salivating. I'm dying to know what's going to happen. This is the craziest week that I can remember in history, and wow. So let me just situate myself here. I got a cold beverage. I've taken an adult gummy, and I'm ready to see what the fuck happens. Cheers to everybody, and happy Wednesday to you. One of the weirder Wednesday nights we're probably going to spend together, that's for sure. David, what are you doing? Where's Darlene? Anyway, hello, everybody, by the way. I want to cruise over here to the chat, say what's up to everybody. If there's super chats in here, we'll get to those. TGA Gaming, Destiny, Mr. Grey Host, Chaz, Madeira, all the channel members that are in here tonight, thank you very much for being here. Trekopedia, Big J, Destiny, Roderick, Jay Foltz, Gilbert, Andy, Ronnie in the house, Zane G in the house, Hero, Rodrigo, Yessie. We got Ratnick, we got Chase, K-Dogs, Kennel, Divine Ricks. I will be hitting these super chats in just a minute. Thank you for the belated birthday love as well. Yachiro, JJ Leg in the house, Alex, Shell Shock, Crazy, Anti-Twister, Atomic Cody, Sebia, Jesse, Crazy J. We got a good crew in here already, over 100 people before Dynamite even starts. That means people are quite interested in what's going to happen tonight. Let me make sure I can be seen and heard. Okay. I can see myself. I think we're good to go, y'all. All right, let me just adjust my microphone, get Dynamite right in front of me. I have no idea what's opening up the show, if Tony Khan's going to come right out and we're going to get to it right away, or if they're going to stall a little bit and Tony Khan's going to come out at the end. Whatever is going on. My suggestion on Twitter is put the belt on Bryan Danielson tonight. Bryan Danielson. I think that's one champion that could maybe take away from all those other headlines. Fans would say, wow, that's a really good idea. Put it on a beloved star like that. He's a babyface as well. He could probably just fill in and do a lot of what Punk was going to do anyway in terms of feuding with MJF and whatnot. That way you don't have to derail all of your MJF plans. Maybe you can keep them kind of the same, just inserting Danielson instead of Punk. That might work. It would put the belt around a credible, well-liked person who has respect and has respect in the locker room and from his peers. AEW is in some turmoil. Whew. I hate that they had to beat Moxley before all this shit happened. You know? Oh, they're going to show the conclusion here. Just the MJF conclusion, not the other conclusion. So that is the voicemail that apparently Tony Khan left for MJF that he played at the end of All Out. Still not sure if Stokely Hathaway and crew is going to be MJF's protection or if that was just a one-night alliance. Seems like it's going to be permanent. Gun Club, Morrissey, Ethan Page. You know, I wouldn't, if they're going to crown a new champion tonight, I said earlier today on Twitter that I actually wouldn't put the belt on Moxley or MJF. I know those are the two obvious go-tos in many fans' minds, but I wouldn't put the belt on anybody who Punk has recently beat. That's why I would say, you remember when Finn Balor had to forfeit the Universal title and they put the belt on Kevin Owens instead? That was like kind of out of nowhere. It was really surprising, kind of made up for the letdown of what happened to Balor. Something like that is what they need to do here. Oh, here's Tony.
Thank you for joining us tonight, and welcome to AEW Wednesday.
Smart him not doing this in the ring.
Sunday night, I've been forced to vacate the AEW World Championship, as well as the AEW World Trios Championship.
Wow, they're vacated.
New World Trios champions will be crowned live tonight.
Wow.
In the opening contest in a fight between two of the most storied trios in AEW's history.
Death Triangle has to win.
Cassidy and the Best Friends versus the AEW
Well, maybe not.
Atlantic champion Pac and the Lucha Brothers, the Death Triangle. The AEW World Championship is the single most prized title in all of combat sports, and it will be decided in
The Grand Slam.
way possible. The AEW Grand Slam tournament.
They're booing.
With 7-time world champion Chris Jericho.
And John Moxley get buys.
AEW World Tag Team Champion Hangman Page. 6-time world champion Bryan Danielson. The all-time longest reigning
Page and Danielson tonight.
3-time TNT champion Sammy Guevara and 3-time world champion John Moxley fighting in a huge series of matches starting tonight. And a world champion will be crowned 2 weeks from tonight at Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York City at AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. I promise you that tonight is going to be a great night of professional wrestling, and AEW will be at our very best these next few weeks on the road to AEW Grand Slam. Thank you again, and back to you, Excalibur, Tony, and Taz.
That's one way to handle it. I think that's smart of Tony Khan not to do it in the ring. He's not just the most experienced talker doing a pre-tape or whatever backstage. It would be a much better way to explain it, I think. All right, well, we now know. Oh, Maxwell's going to start things off, too. All right, in case you're just tuning in, Tony Khan opened up the show, looked to be a pre-tape from backstage, which I think is much smarter than doing it in the ring. Says that he is forced to crown brand new AEW Trios titles, or champions, and a brand new AEW World Champion. Trios champions will be crowned tonight. Best Friends and Orange Cassidy taking on, look at Maxwell, back in his home state, right? Taking on Death Triangle, and then we've got a tournament. Looked to be like an 8-man tournament setup with Jericho and Moxley getting buys in the first round. Danielson and Hangman Page tonight. Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara on Friday. They will both advance. And then the final two will face at Grand Slam on Wednesday night Dynamite in about 3 weeks, 2 weeks from now. And we will crown a new AEW World Champion. And I tweeted today, I think that person should be Bryan Danielson. And I'm not backing off that claim. Put the belt on Danielson. It can save everything. It can rectify everything. I wouldn't go right with a heel right away in MJF or something. Well, I'm glad he's getting a nice ovation here. The devil is back. Let's see what he has to say here. Then I'm going to shoot over here and make sure I knock out these super chats from Divine, K-Dog's Kennel, maybe some others. I'm excited to see you, MJF. Tony Khan did not mention any wrestlers by name in that brief statement that he made, for those wondering. Oh, he's, what's Buff? Are the Bills scheduled to have a decent year again this year? He's trying to be a little babyface here. Darby Allin for champ, huh? Well, he's in the tournament. I think fans would like that. I'm going with Danielson. I just think he's the best person. Biggest star they currently have. Oh, you won't? Oh, you're never going to leave now. Okay. He's got to be. He's going to turn on these fans. He's wearing the Buffalo shirt. He's sucking the fans' dicks. Said he didn't mean it when he called them stupid marks. Oh, now he's giving the fans a round of applause. This is great. What are we watching? Tony goes, what are we watching? The big, fat, smelly elephant. I can't tell what MJF's doing. I think he's just baiting the crowd in. Don't boo, don't boo, just chill, chill. And you ain't in it. You just got that poker chip. Yeah, Bryan Danielson. I know one guy who deserves it too, MJF. Is that the rule? The chip, you can pick your time? Yeah, well, if he's going to release all them other guys, he can afford to pay you that now. I wasn't aware that Christopher Daniels was suspended, probably because he was involved in that. Sucks, but, I mean, Pat Buck was suspended. Pat Buck's a pretty respected dude, so I think anybody that maybe got physical just had to be suspended, regardless of whether you were just trying to help or not. I don't know. Meek and weak.
He split the sea wide open, and he walked them straight to the promised land.
Oh, he's talking about Moses. Yeah, Moses. He's better than Moses. Fuck yeah, he is. I'm sorry, you can believe what you want, but no person ever parted a sea. I don't care what you think or what you say. That did not happen. Just like God didn't create light before he created the sun, which is what they claim. All right, here comes Moxley. See, I really hate that we beat Moxley clean. Wasn't that his first clean loss ever in AEW? Has this dude been beaten at all there? Now you're going to beat him, and the guy who beat him is going to leave the company? That's why I hated that CM Punk was injured. If I was Tony Khan, I would make CM Punk come out tonight and drop the belt. And a lot of people were like, oh, he'll never agree to that. I'm like, why? CM Punk's issues weren't with creative. They were personal with people backstage. So if he really claims to love the business, love AEW, he's going to do the right thing. And if he's told to go out there and lose, he's going to do it. Otherwise, he's in breach, unless he's got creative control. But CM Punk has never seemed to be that creative control type of guy. His issues are always other stuff. So even if that's what they had to do and Punk was healthy and Tony Khan's like, look, you got to go out and get squashed by Mox or Danielson's got to beat you. I can't see CM Punk disrespecting those guys to the point where he says, no, I'm keeping the belt. People like Danielson and all the other people that he actually does respect back there, that's not doing them any favors either. So I think at the end of the day, CM Punk is smart enough to know that. And he wouldn't like refuse to go out and do a job. I just don't think that's part of CM Punk's MO. His MO is just not getting along with anybody. That's all that is. Mic in hand and MJF.
You are absolutely full of crap.
Yeah. Moxley knows he's full of shit. He's being a babyface for right now. There's no way MJF is now a babyface. Just because he's wearing a Bills jersey.
You think I'm not being sincere here in Buffalo, New York?
I mean, you might be being sincere in Buffalo, but... There he is. There he goes, finally. He's back. I never thought he left. Yeah, come on. He's sitting there wearing a jersey and saying fans are beautiful people. Y'all ain't that gullible. Y'all are a subscriber of this channel. Can't be that gullible and be a subscriber of mine. Come on now. We know shit over here. Yeah, he kind of did.
But maybe you got a point. Maybe I don't care about AEW. Maybe I don't care about these
that I can use for the bidding war of 2024.
Oh, yeah, he's still claiming his contract is up in 2024.
Title to a real wrestling company
Oh,
with real fans.
with real fans. I love it. I love it.
Real wrestlers,
And real wrestlers.
my friend and hero,
Cody?
American roller coaster, Cody Rhodes.
The American roller coaster, Cody Rhodes. We got a Cody Rhodes name drop.
Hold in the microphone, you bums. Keep your mouth shut. And maybe, just maybe, I get to work for a real boss. The only con in professional wrestling that's worth a damn. Jolly old Saint Nick.
Damn. Damn. Jolly old Saint Nick Con.
Greatest wrestler of all time, and my personal hero, the game. That is what's best for business.
He just said he's going to win the title, take it to a real wrestling company with a better con as the boss, his good friend, the American roller coaster, and his favorite wrestler of the game.
This is not the place. And I am in no mood. You need to leave this ring right now, or I will make you leave.
Yeah, I would do what Moxley says. Dude's been on a tear. Dude's a juggernaut, man. I hate that he lost on Sunday. Otherwise, you could just keep rolling with Moxley, man. Why couldn't they have the fight before All Out? Oh, we're taking our shirts off? Okay, why not? I'm just kidding. His shirt got stuck. Got beat by your shirt. What a crazy... Hey, by the way, since we got a good audience, you guys hit some thumbs up buttons for me down there. Get that like up. Appreciate it. We're going to be going to commercial soon. I'll knock out the super chats, do more shout outs as Maxwell leaves the ring. Your theme music sucks, by the way. I like it. It fits him.
Buffalo, in New York, I am in no mood.
Yeah, Mox can shoot a bit. Exactly.
I am pissed off. I am embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed.
Pissed off about a great many things, but none more so than the fact that I'm standing here. Represents the passion of the guys and girls in the back.
We briefly disconnected there, but I think we're fine. Sorry about that.
At home. Those three letters in the AEW World Championship.
Moxley is going off.
Heroes during a pandemic at a time when the world needed heroes. It represents the dream, the vision that we all had when we started this thing years ago, and we wanted to show the world just what wrestling could be. The AEW World Championship represents taking the dark and ugly side of this business and letting it die with another generation. The World Championship represents the freedom to be as great as you are willing to dare to be.
This promo by Moxley
Championship means being better than I was the day before, even if it's just a little bit better, even if nobody notices but me.
reminds me of the Rock's promo
Championship represents
after Austin walked out.
demons. The World Championship represents everything I love about this business.
Moxley, mad. What's going on, Steven Scott and everybody else chiming in? How Wheezy, C-Mac?
Very powerful, very passionate. I love it.
It's got a lot of those vibes. You know, Rock came out and basically vented a little bit at the behavior of Stone Cold, just like Moxley is doing now.
And that's on me. That's my fault. I made mistakes. I got pinned. That's on me. I missed the game-winning shot.
Well, at least he's owning up to it.
Supposed to be on vacation right now, like till about 2 days ago. But here's another chance to take another shot when the game's on the line. This tournament of champions, it is one hell of a shot. That's one hell of a big rock to push all the way to the top of the hill again. Chris Jericho, the greatest of all time.
Greatest of all time.
Danielson, the best pure wrestler to ever step foot in a ring, a better wrestler than I'll ever be. Darby Allin,
I'm putting the belt on Danielson. Sorry.
Three dudes all younger than me, faster than me, more naturally gifted than I could ever be. So yeah, that's a hell of a shot. The winners always want the ball when the game is on the line. The ace always wants the ball.
I know there's been a bunch of aces in wrestling, but Moxley would be a good candidate for the ace nickname.
So hell yeah. I'm gonna
We already got a couple, but not Ace Steel. I'm thinking more like Tanahashi or Bob Orton, but it'd be a good nickname for him.
This isn't just time to win. This isn't just the fourth quarter. This isn't just winning time right now. This is time to be a legend.
Well, I'm not going to shut up about my Bryan Danielson, not necessarily pick or prediction, just my belief that Danielson is the right guy to belt up right now in this situation with what's going on in AEW. You have to have that belt land on someone who the fans are going to be like, you know, not that they wouldn't feel this way about Moxley, but it's like, yeah, that's a champion we can get behind. He'll never pull any of that CM Punk stuff. We've already seen Jon Moxley as the champion 3 times. So why not, you know, take this situation that Punk and the Elite have created and use it as a way to anoint another guy that really should be at the top contending for the title anyway. And I kind of compared a little bit to Balor and Kevin Owens, how WWE really landed on their feet, giving the belt to Owens, surprising everybody. And that's Grand Slam. It's going to be in Arthur Ashe. Huge crowd. I think when it comes to wrestlers on the roster that are just universally respected and loved, I think Danielson has that nearly more than anybody. But also, don't discredit Hangman Page, because what a way to let CM Punk know, if you're Tony Khan, that you don't agree with what he's doing, then put the belt back on Hangman Page, the guy that CM Punk called a brainless fuck or whatever the hell. So, the reason I'm picking Danielson is because I'm thinking about Hangman Page or Moxley or Jericho. All of these men have had the titles before, and Moxley, more specifically, has lost to Danielson. So that's why, or lost to CM Punk. So I would put someone on the top that doesn't have any sort of an immediate connection to him right now, and Danielson doesn't. They've never faced in AEW. And I think Danielson overall is probably a little more well-beloved and respected than CM Punk. They both have 2 of the most dominating chants in the business over the last 20 years, with the CM Punk chants and the Yes chants. And he's beloved, so I would do Danielson. I would crown him. I would make him the guy. And I think that would help diffuse a lot and put someone at the top that you know is going to handle the title well, carry the title well. He's certainly not going to have any outburst or put the company in any sort of a weird spot whatsoever. He would never do that. So he's my pick. Danielson. So this is for the championship, guys. Now help me out in case, because I'm talking a lot. I don't know if Excalibur or anybody is making specific mention about Kenny, the Bucks, or CM Punk by name. Tony Khan did not in his statement. Here comes the besties. And it sucks, too, because normally after a pay-per-view, you show countless amounts of replays of the main event, and you talk about it. Oh, my God, new champion. They're not going to talk about any of that shit at all. They're not going to show any of the trios match, which was a really good match at the pay-per-view between the Dark Order and Elite. But it's like they're going to not even talk about it, which, I mean, I guess is what you have to do. You don't want to give all those gentlemen attention and press. If you guys have been reading the reports too, Chris Jericho has been heavily praised for his behavior and handling of all of this. Trying to maybe step up as a locker room leader. I know they had a big talent meeting today in which Jericho spoke, and he is set to address the AEW Galaxy later on tonight. And I can see Jericho sticking around in the company, perhaps becoming like their Triple H. You know, if he really is, becoming a locker room leader, which is weird to me because Jericho's been known to have outbursts and shit in the past himself, but maybe he's grown out of that. You know, I know he's an active wrestler, and you don't want to have active wrestlers in the positions of creative or executives. We've seen what a bad idea that is. But how active can Jericho really be at this point? I mean, he's in his 50s. He should be, looking for other things to do, and maybe he could be a guy. We mentioned that last weekend. Maybe he could be one of the guys put in position of power in Tony Khan's company just to help him, manage all of these personalities and stuff. So maybe that can be in Chris Jericho's future. He can be AEW's Triple H, when he finally steps away from the ring, at least permanently or semi-permanently. I guess the best friends would probably be the way to go here, but I think either one of these teams winning would be great. We have not had a commercial yet. I owe a lot of Super Chat responses. We're going to do that at our first commercial, guys, but there has not been one yet. We had Tony Khan opening the show, then an MJF promo, then a Moxley promo, and now we've got a match crowning, or to crown, the new AEW Trios champions. Since Punk, Kenny, and the Bucks have all been stripped officially of their championships. Whew. Whew, whew, whew. This is crazy, man. This is crazy times. Fucking crazy times. Nice tornado. I don't really know who I want to win this. I think Best Friends kind of represent early AEW the best. But Death Triangle would be unstoppable. No kidding. I mean, Pac's one of the... I mean, both teams, too, have been together a while, so it's just really hard to pick who you think would be better. But I think athletically I'm going with Death Triangle. But maybe for the fans... I think if I'm Tony Khan, my strategy, too, is to kind of make the product fun as possible. Remember, like, when the pandemic hit? Remember all the fun Triple H was having at the commentary table with Michael Cole? He was just all over the place, trying to make the best of a fucked up situation. And maybe that's what Tony Khan should do here. He should try to present fun matches, put the belts on fun people, just for a little while, just a little phase, just a little fun phase. Several weeks, couple weeks, or whatever, heading into the fall, just to put all this behind them and try to move forward and keep the fans' minds focused on fun and entertainment and trying to, right the ship instead of just putting your belts on a bunch of heels or a bunch of controversial characters that are only going to add to the fans and the tribal ass monkeys' frustrations online. Just do some fun stuff. AEW performs well under pressure. I wouldn't sleep on this Dynamite. I think a lot of the wrestlers are going to have something to prove to come out there and say, no, we're going to band together here. I think I've said it before. Sometimes you need to retreat to move forward. And sometimes it takes, taking a few steps back for you to realize what you need to do to ultimately move on to that next level. And I've believed that. I fully believe that. I said that. I know I don't want to make anything sound weird here, but like years ago when Donald Trump won the election, I said, I'm like, this sucks, but sometimes you have to retreat to move forward. I think it's going to take someone like this just to show how bad he is, and then we can move forward. And I said 6 years ago now, I said he will not be reelected. There's just no way. He barely was now. He's going to get in the White House and make a fool of himself. That's exactly what he did. So sometimes you have to retreat to move forward. And with this, maybe it takes some sort of catastrophic event backstage where everything kind of crumbles and it's like the worst it's ever been and talent's at each other's throats and nobody knows what the fuck's going on and it's utter chaos. Sometimes it takes that rock bottom fall to eventually get to the next level and progress. As a company, just like we need to progress as a nation and not regress. So sometimes it takes shit like that. It takes a major trip up or something. You guys have probably experienced that in your life. I've had a couple of friends. I had one friend that got arrested for having a shit ton of like drugs in his house, and kind of like something like Jeff Hardy went through. And I'll be damned if that dude never even, his tongue never even touched alcohol again. He was clean the very next day, scared him straight, was like, never again will I ever do any of this shit again. And he cleaned himself up, paid his fines. He didn't do any time, but paid his fines and went to his bullshit and did everything he needed to do. And, he's sitting now on a pile of money because he was motivated to better his life and make, his life a success. And, couldn't be prouder for him. So sometimes you have to hit that big wall, or that rock bottom moment, or some sort of really big, terrible thing, a learning experience type of thing, to where you say, well, we never want to do that again. So hopefully that's kind of the mindset of the talent, the people in charge in AEW. If there was a talent meeting today, hopefully they all said, hey, let's cut the shit and let's get out there and do what we all know we can do. We all know we can do this. We've been doing it for 3 years successfully. So let's not let something like this stop us and slow us down, or potentially jeopardize, us and the fans finally having another wrestling company in this world for wrestlers to work at, other than those big ugly fucking W's. I just think that it's everyone's best interest to think of it that way and just move forward, make the best of it. You can't change anything that happened on Sunday now. All you can do is, because if we could, we would. All you can do is move forward. That's all you can do. I mean, if there's anybody complaining about, I can't believe Tony Khan did this or that, I'm like, what did you want him to do? He had to take action. He did. Everybody suspended. Everybody stripped. He came out, didn't make a big deal about it. I was worried that Tony Khan would come to the ring and start yelling on the mic to all of us what his plans are. Whoever told him it was a better idea to do this in a pre-tape deserves a cookie, because that was a really good idea, just to keep Tony back there confined to where he's not out in the open, because the fans that already have this predisposed contempt and hate in their heart for him aren't going to listen to what he's saying. They're going to be too focused on how much they hate him. So it was just I think it was best for him to do it that way. Should be paying attention to this trios match, as Cassidy seems to be. I think for Cassidy's sake, I would almost want Best Friends to win this, because everybody else on the other side has had tag team gold, or championships, I should say. Pac is the champion, and Lucha Brothers have held the AEW tags. Best Friends are fun-loving. They had some fun stuff last year with Proud and Powerful. Danhausen. Can Danhausen fill in if they win the trios titles? Can he fill in 1 week? Uh-oh. I'm sorry, we technically have had a commercial break. It was pitcher and pitcher, but I was still talking, so I still do owe super chats. Ratted. Greg is friends with Scott Colton. Sorry. I'm a big CM Punk fan. If anything, I'm just disappointed that this all happened. I'm pissed that he took it to this degree. I'm pissed that all of this happened. It's disheartening as a wrestling fan. We need AEW. We need something else. We need two companies, man. Some of the best times in my life were when we had two wrestling companies, So I want that again. And like I said yesterday, if you're one of those fans that actively and openly root for another company's failure, I have no respect for you at all. I don't respect you as a person, a man, nothing. Because I think that's pathetic. And it's the furthest thing from being a wrestling fan that you can be. Is to actually hope a wrestling company goes through turmoil and, and has trouble, and you don't want them to be good. That's so stupid and immature. And those people are everywhere around the wrestling idiot verse. Chucky, man. I love Chucky, but I don't think, a couple of months on the treadmill will be a waste of his time. You know what I'm saying? Wow. That was a good by Chucky T. Punk proved a lot of people in WWE right on Sunday. Can't disagree. Punk has always had this reputation. I saw so many people like, people forget this is the way Punk always was. I'm like, I don't think anybody forgot. We were all talking about this before he got there. Man, I hope he gets along with everybody. And he didn't. Okay, and there they go. We knew they were going to set this one up, so now it's official. Grand Slam. Swerve in Our Glory defending against the Acclaimed. That's where the Acclaimed is going to get their moment, and I'm sure it will be a good one, but it wouldn't have been as good as if they would have won on Sunday. Yeah. Big hug. Well, Jeremy Finchin, maybe Danielson can still have that chance. Jimmy Fingers, Victor, Kevin, all y'all. I'll be hitting those super chats soon, I promise. I see him. I see him. Big cutter by Phoenix. There's just been a lot going on. Tony Khan, MJF, Moxley, and now we're crowning new trios champions, all before a commercial break. What pay-per-view did Pac and Orange Cassidy work one-on-one? When was that? Because that was a good match. Oof. Oh, double super kick into a, not a destroyer, but a half destroyer. I don't know what you call a half destroyer. Revolution 2020. Oh, okay, right before the shit hit the fan. Okay. Please, let's not have a repeat of WCW Backstage. Too late. Too late. You can't undo that, so it's already happened. I argue that not even WCW Backstage was that bad. I don't think there's ever any fights backstage. A lot of stuff was taking place right in the ring. Oof. Well, there was the Eddie Guerrero Bischoff incident. I think Nash and Roddy Piper had a scuffle, if I remember right, which I think Nash got the better of, which was probably a blow to Piper's ego. Let's get him. Oh, triple super kick. Now they're like, let's get them. Triple destroyers. Have I ever seen a triple destroyer? I know. I'm sure it's been done on the indies, but I don't think I've ever seen one. Now, why shouldn't Hangman be in the tournament? He wasn't a part of that scuffle. I don't think he went into business for himself any worse than CM Punk did. And he is the guy that held the belt before Punk. Ooh, big black arrow. Is that it? New champs. And so, basically, my point is, Rock, if Hangman's not going to win the tournament, then it shouldn't matter if he's in it. Because I want Danielson to win this whole thing. So I don't think Hangman would really win this anyway, so it shouldn't matter that he's in it, is basically my point. I just think it makes the most sense for him since he's one of the former world champions, you know, and you want to have all your former world champions in this thing, and they do. Jericho's in it, Mox is in it, Hangman's in it. I have no issue with it. I don't think Hangman is going to win. So maybe if you changed your comment to Hangman shouldn't win the tournament, then maybe I'd agree with you. But being in it, no big deal. No big deal at all. All right, Shivani is standing by as we have the Death Triangle celebrating double champion now in Pac. Oh. He wants you to work for him.
I don't know if you understood what I said last week. But Dark Order is not for sale. Your last name is the assistant. Beat it.
Yeah, Dark Order could cost him the match with Danielson, but I don't even think he needs to. Just have Danielson beat him. No shame in losing to Danielson. I love Hangman, but his character and his position in the company can survive a loss to Danielson. Danielson's awesome. All right, so we'll see. I have a feeling that this whole thing going on with 10 is the way to move him on to something else because, he's got a lot of presence to him, a lot of size. We've seen him without his mask. A lot of the ladies like him. He's Negative One's favorite wrestler. Let's push him. Give him a gimmick change. Push him. So maybe he'll go work for Andrade. I suggested a match with Wardlow where 10 tases Wardlow, and that's what helps him or causes him to lose the AEW title. Yeah, but see, Rock, I don't think Hangman went off. I think Hangman was pretty subtle in what he said. None of the fans picked up on it. I had to go back and watch these interviews to even see what the hell Punk was talking about. He didn't go into his business to himself that bad because the fans didn't know it. Fans had no clue. I think that was more of a little subtle thing that he took at a subtle shot that he took at CM Punk. Some fans might have recognized it and like, oh, that's a direct dig at him being difficult backstage, but it was minor, not even close to as bad as anything that MJF or Eddie Kingston said to CM Punk. So nobody knew that Hangman went into business for himself until Punk said so. Was anybody after that Hangman Page promo being like, whoa, he really went off the rails on that? No, because we had already heard MJF and Eddie Kingston talk to Punk. So nobody even recognized it. The only person it pissed off was Punk. So I still think Punk is wrong. Maybe Hangman was wrong to say it and make a subtle little dig like that, just like Sean was wrong about the sunny days. But, what did Brett do? Brett took care of it backstage. So, I don't know. But I don't think that Hangman really deserves, based on the information that we as fans know, based on the information that we've all read. You've read the same words I've read. Based on that information, I'm not suspending Hangman Page. Sure, what he did caused a lot of chain reaction, but, nobody knew that Punk was going to react that way and stuff. So, if anything, maybe you should have action taken against you for going off script in some way. Hey, don't do that. Hey, I'm going to fine you $1,000 or whatever. But going that far in it, I don't think was that big a deal. I think there's been way worse shit said on the mic. And as usual, Punk probably got a little too mad, but we will see. Anyway, we got a commercial now, so let's do some super chats. I'm going to go all the way back up here, way earlier, close to 40 minutes ago now. K-Dog's Kennel. What's up, Kevin? Good to see you as well. Channel member, good friend of ours here. Excuse me. Happy belated birthday, Greg. How is Bub? And I hope Elizabeth is well. Elizabeth is doing well. She is now off to work. I had a great birthday yesterday. She spoiled me. She pampered me. She brought me food. She allowed me to sit in my studio here and just basically watch this drama unfold. I didn't take a shower. It was a great day. I really, really relaxed, and I was able to kind of absorb and try to stay on top of all of this information that was coming into us. So yesterday was actually a pretty good day. Bub is doing well, but not going to lie, I'm starting to feel a slowdown in him. So it might be soon, but other than that, he's still doing good. He's been a good boy all day. He's eaten a ton, and he's walked around the house. He's happy, at least right now. Divine Ricks, appreciate the $5 from you earlier as well. Thank you, dude. Another channel member and Monkey Wrench. Hey, Greg, how's everything? Hope your B-Day went well. I got to admit, this has been a crazy year in wrestling, and we only in September. I mean, Vince McMahon leaving and AEW turning into a dumpster fire was one on my bingo card. You know what I'm saying? Man, oh man. Trying to find the next one. Jimmy Fingers, very generous $20 from you earlier, dude. Appreciate that. Too bad House of Black was never booked correctly. Maybe Malachi would still be here to win those 3-man tags tonight. I'm not overly excited for the combatants tonight for them, except Cassidy. AEW has a hole to dig out of, a huge hole to dig out of. That they do. Here comes Penelope Ford. She's going to be taking on new interim AEW Women's Champion Toni Storm. A lot of new champions crowning this company right now. Looks like Kip Sabian is still with her. Malachi Black, apparently, according to reports, has been given and granted his conditional release from the company, so he is going to be leaving, apparently. That was made evident by the last couple of matches he's lost and his demeanor after the match at All Out on Sunday. He kind of said goodbye to the fans a little bit and hugged his House of Black boys. I don't even think House of Black was really booked that bad, to be honest. I don't think it was worse than what they were doing with him in WWE, but whatever it was not creatively satisfying enough for Malachi. And, of course, his other issues. And I'm just glad that AEW said, yeah, if you want to go, we'll let you go. We're not going to let you go straight to WWE and compete on Raw on Monday, but we'll let you go if it's the best for you. So I'm curious what those conditions are, if he has to wait a year. I would make him wait a minimum. If I'm Tony Khan, he has to wait a minimum of 1 year before he works anywhere. That's the compromise I would insist on making. But I would definitely let him out if he was legitimately that unhappy, Because, if he's got 4 years left, you're only asking him to wait out 25% of that contract. That's pretty reasonable in my mind. So we'll see what those conditions turn out to be. Tony Storm and Penelope. This is like the beginning of a really good dream. Deshaun Robinson, what's up, dude? Good to see you as well. I'm not sure if I got you earlier. And Victor Colon chiming in with the $5. Thank God it looks like Tony Khan is getting his balls from his purse and starting to act like a boss now and have his big boy pants on. Well, hopefully. It felt like he might have had to put on his big boy pants a week or so ago when they already did the talent meeting, and then we had a fucking Royal Rumble in the backstage area after All Out. So that meeting didn't do any good. So let's see if his big boy pants are on now. Hopefully he's got to make examples out of somebody, which he's done with the suspensions. But as a lot of people have alluded to, maybe the best solution here for everyone in wrestling is to suspend everyone, have some consequences, but then try to make money off of this. Because whatever these beefs are, they can't be so bad that they can't be overcome when there's this much money sitting there to be had. Especially if AEW just keeps quiet about everything. We don't even know how long these suspensions are. They're internal numbers that aren't going to be released to the public. And then after a month, after 2 months, during that time, if you can get all the parties in the room, and even if they still hate each other, like, look, can you at least agree to be professional for the next few months so we can make a few $1,000,000 each? And then you just bring everybody back quickly. Maybe CM Punk comes out and cuts a promo, and then the Elite jump him and just whip his ass or something. I don't know. But you play into this somehow down the road. But I think a lot of that is way up in the air, because if CM Punk has suffered the injury that many believe him to have suffered, he's going to be out for a while. And if that's the case, I think maybe too much time will even have passed for them to circle back and make money on this. I don't know, man. I just kind of think that it's best if Punk just goes away. He's caused too much problems. Jimmy Fingers, 5 more from you as we go to pitcher and pitcher with Penelope and Tony Storm in the ring currently for those scoring at home. 4 starters. TK needs to delegate creative to people who know how to execute it. He needs to stop signing people and keep ROH off AEW TV, and no more scrums. I kind of agree with the no more scrums. I said that yesterday. I was like, these scrums are not... They're providing us fans with a lot of entertainment. They're great. It's not that I want to see them go away, but I'm talking about for the good of AEW. Maybe it's best for those things not to go on anymore because they just draw so much criticism. And I don't know what the point of them are, because it's just YouTubers and shit in the media. Fucking Izzy is there asking questions and shit. Like, just do this in a conference call, or just do this some other way. It's just silly to, sit these people there and make them think that this is some fucking press conference and the president is speaking. It's just wrestling, I don't even think you need these media scrum. Like, I was at Double or Nothing. I wouldn't even want to go to one of these things. I would have no interest in sitting there and like taping the whole thing and then putting on my YouTube channel. Like, they're dumb. I totally agree with you. I don't need them personally, but they have given us some pretty great moments, especially when you've got, a wrestling promoter and a lot of wrestlers who've had a very, very long day. They're probably doing multiple things to keep themselves awake, not necessarily illegal, but Tony Khan's always been called a cokehead or something. But think about it. If you're up at 8 o'clock in the morning and this press conference is taking place at 1 o'clock in the morning, you've been up for all of these hours. You don't think Tony Khan might be having some Red Bulls and espressos? Have you ever had more than one of those things? You're a jittery mess. So I don't automatically just be like, oh, he's just doing blow. I mean, this is wrestling, and if it was 40 years ago, I'd be like, oh, yeah, he's definitely doing it. But I think that fans just want that to be true, and it probably necessarily isn't. But you never know. All I can say is the scrums always draw more negative attention than positive attention, and maybe they don't need to be done anymore. Four. I thought you meant like 4 starters. I'm like, what do you mean? Like a starting lineup or something? I get it, Jimmy. 4 starters. I don't have a problem, to be honest, that big of a problem with AEW's creative. TK needs to delegate creative to people who know how to execute it. I think Tony can execute it. He's not perfect. Nobody's been able to execute it perfectly. Vince Russo, Vince McMahon, even when Vince McMahon was at his peak, even when the Attitude Era was at its heights. Look at all the dumb shit they were doing on TV that made no sense. So AEW's got problems. They have things they can work on and do better. Tony Khan has had some questionable booking decisions, but I certainly wouldn't think that he doesn't know what he's doing, because I've been supremely impressed and entertained by most 90% of their TV and 90% of their pay-per-views. That's a pretty good track record. So I don't have really an issue of the execution of a lot of their creative. I have an issue with the execution of some of their creative from time to time. Like, oh, well, that was silly, or I would have done this different. Why did that guy win? That's going to happen in every promotion. We do this. We do the same shit in WWE. Same stuff. So I don't have an issue with that. I think he needs to delegate responsibility for sure. But I don't think, and he should have some creative people around him as well. But I don't think he needs to give all of these jobs to other people and then just sit in the back. No. He's a passionate wrestling fan. That's the type of guy you want booking shit, in my mind. And then just have some people with a little more experience surrounding him to, maybe keep a little bit of a leash on him to where he doesn't do things that make too little sense. And Tony Storm beats Penelope. 5 more from Jimmy Fingers. As for Punk, I don't think I could ever root for him again, and I was a huge Punk fan. I'm no psychologist, but he demonstrates bipolar 101. Yeah, he does. And I've joked before. I think a lot of it's because he's straight edge. I think phoning up old Kevin Nash's cannabis business wouldn't be a waste of his time. It might chill him the fuck out a little bit, because he's just so high-strung and so pissed off all the time. And all I know is if I've got, I don't know how much money CM Punk has in the bank, but I would guess maybe $20 million-ish. It's going to be very little I'm going to be pissed about, I'm not going to be going around actively looking for confrontations and stuff, I'm going to be pretty happy and fortunate and grateful that I have the life that I have. Oh, yeah, fucking Bronson, Action Bronson, whatever his name is. How Easy, you're the one next that I missed. Thank you, dude, very much for that $5. All Elite Wrestling has removed all images of CM Punk and the Elite from their intro of AEW on TV. I didn't even notice that. How Easy. Thank you for pointing that out. Good for them. I did the same thing. You notice the overlay? I changed all of the wrestlers. I removed any reference to CM Punk and the Bucks and Omega and anybody else that had anything to do with that shit last night. And I'm like, let's go with people that have good reputations right now in the company. And maybe people that are going to be driving the ship while these guys are gone, suspended, fired, whatever winds up happening. So, wow. Uh-oh. Here, we got to hear what Max Caster has to say. How harsh is he going to be? Oh. See, the smart move. Most people, I think, were excited to hear Caster's rap because how is he not going to reference what happened? But AEW might not want to reference what happened. So let's have Swerve come out and stop it before it happens. Smart booking. Yes, I wanted to hear some more stupid, corny rap jokes. That's exactly what we're here for, Swerve. Yes. I don't even remember where the scissor me daddy ass thing started and why. One of the more organically over things in the business right now. People turn the channel when the Bucks come on? I don't. I like the Bucks. Apparently they're little pieces of shit backstage, but I love them as a tag team. But they're from Rancho Cucamonga. Or Reseda, as Punk called it. Okay, here we go, Billy Gunn. Yeah. This is Daddy Ass's house. Didn't you see the name on the door? You walk right in front, this big black letters, Daddy Ass's house. I saw it. Apparently, Swerve is blind. Arthur Ashe Stadium. I'm going to love to see the Acclaim win in Arthur Ashe, but would have been cool if it happened on Sunday. Scissor me daddy ass. Smitty, unless something has been reported since we've been streaming, there is no word on how long CM Punk has been suspended for. We don't know. But thanks for that info on the AEW intro, How Wheezy. Appreciate that. Zane G, good to see you as well. Thanks for the $5. If Danielson wins the championship tonight, well, he won't. Would it be the equivalent to his win at WrestleMania being a double champion? I don't think so. I don't think it would be the equivalent of WrestleMania because that was pretty awesome. But Zane, they're going to be doing the tournament that Danielson is in. He's facing Hangman Page tonight. But if he wins, he will only be advancing in the tournament, I believe, to face Jericho, which is perfect because then he can get his win back by Jericho. I'm picking Danielson all the way in this tournament. And then he'll face the winner of Moxley versus the winner of Sammy and Darby at Grand Slam for the title. So I'm going Danielson. I think Danielson's going to win the title. I feel like he definitely is. Based on the way that bracket is set up. Yeah. Who else did I miss? Zane G, I got you. Okay, good. We're caught up on those. Phew. All right. I'm glad those weren't piling up because I felt bad. I'm like, I know I owe those responses to you guys. Yeah, Ratnick. See, that was one question I still had. Everybody's been talking about how nobody even brought up Colt Cabana at the scrum. Punk just, something triggered him. Because every video I saw, the video started with him just going off on Cabana. So I thought that somebody must have mentioned him and then it wasn't caught on camera. Maybe that is the case, because otherwise why would Punk just do that? What that tells me is if Punk really had that in mind just to go completely ballistic on Scott Colton and literally nobody did bring him up, and if that's the truth, nobody brought it up to Punk, he didn't mention his name or nothing triggered it, and Punk just did it, that tells me that this whole thing was a premeditated attack. He's been hanging on to these feelings, and once he won the title, he knew that would put him in a position to be able to say these things without repercussion because he's the champion. So maybe he just knew he was going to get all this shit off his chest because he's protected as the champion. The only problem is he went a little bit too far, and then he was confronted by people backstage, and a melee broke out, and that caused him to be punished and penalized anyway. Because, I mean, when you think about it, after the curtain call, even though you couldn't punish Shawn because he was champion, if he would have gone to the back and somebody would have gotten his face and he would have thrown a punch, well, I don't think Shawn would have thrown a punch because no matter who got in Shawn's face, they would have whipped his ass. But if Shawn did throw a punch or start physically fighting, you know, you would think that he would be suspended because when he did do that with Brett, they were both sent home immediately from the building. So I think there would be maybe more punishment when there's physicality involved, because that's not something that can be okay. That's why this was the only thing Tony Khan can do, and I'm glad that he knew that enough, or he had enough people around him saying, yeah, you can't, if you don't punish these guys, you might as well just kiss your company goodbye, because now you've created the biggest double standard. You've now created this environment to where it's okay to beat the fuck out of each other. I ain't working there if that's something that's okay. So what was Tony Khan supposed to do? I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people who are going to find a way to criticize him for this tonight. But I'm like, what did you want him to do? He did exactly what he should have done. Everybody's fucking suspended. Give me my belts back. We're going to fix everything up, and we'll go from there. They removed everybody from the intro. They barely mentioned him on TV. I have not heard CM Punk, Kenny, or the Bucks name mentioned yet.
How about a gigantic win over Bryan Danielson? And you know what? Look at me, Shivani. I'm better than ever. Let me give you a little history lesson.
Look at me, Schiavone.
100 years ago, Ponce de Leon went searching for the Fountain of Youth. He didn't find it. In 2022, Corazon de Leon, Chris Jericho found the Fountain of Youth. And I'm drinking it in, man! That's why I was able to beat
Many more normal people drink and smoke so they don't act like CM Punk. Yeah.
the best wrestler ever, the best
The key to moderation is moderation. BWE? BWE BC? What the fuck does that mean?
Another reason why I'm gonna beat Bryan Danielson again next week on Dynamite.
Look at Sammy.
Go on to Grand Slam and become the world champion for the 8th time.
For the 8th time. I'm going to start dressing like Sammy with my Calvin Kleins hanging out. Out of my now 45-year-old gut.
When it comes to the Jericho Appreciation Society, I got 2 little brothers. Spanish God, Sammy Guevara,
Spanish God.
taking on Darby Allin this Friday on Rampage in the Tournament of Champions.
What if Sammy wins the title?
Yeah, that's right, Chris. Darby Allin. This Friday, your little turtle of an ass is getting beat.
You're a little turtle of an ass. Everybody thinks Darby Allin's that Turtles kid.
And my other little brother, Danny Garcia, the biggest match of his career tonight in his hometown of Buffalo.
Oh, yeah, Danny and Wheeler.
Now, Danny, I know you're going to win because I believe
Okay, so something did trigger Punk's response.
last Sunday at the championship celebration, my celebration, I told you and I meant it. We're going to leave you alone tonight. You're going to beat Yuta, but you're going to have to do it without the Jericho Appreciation Society. Isn't that right, Sammy?
Sorry, Chris. Look how sexy we are. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't stop looking. Yeah, look at those abs. Jericho, those are weird abs you got. Yeah, baby. Who's in the ring? We got somebody in there. I can't tell. Is it Ethan Page? I don't think that was Ethan. I couldn't tell who was in the ring. Here comes Wardlow. Yeah, woof. DK, I've said that a million times. And watching him sit there while he's doing that was quite mind-blowing. Unless there's been problems behind the scenes with the Elite that we haven't heard about, you know, like maybe they've been pissing TK off. Maybe they've been doing some stuff. It just hasn't been made public. And then when Punk went off, Tony Khan was like, yeah, they have been doing that. Fuck them. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? My advice is just don't take it too seriously and get yourself too riled up over stuff, because when it comes to Tony Khan, I've never seen a group of fans with so much just like pre-existing, unfounded hate, just hate in their heart for this guy they don't know. They have no reason to have any vendetta against him. They just do, and it's so silly, you know. Like, just try to view the guy as a human being. Criticize him when he's wrong. Praise him when he's good. I don't know what's so hard about that. You know, there's been a lot of stuff that Tony Khan has done great and has given me as a wrestling fan that I've given him a lot of praise for. But at the same time, when he's dumb, I'm going to let him know that too. That's called being an adult. Wardlow is ridiculous. I wish Strowman would have came into AEW so Wardlow could beat him. Oh, don't touch my boobie. Don't touch my titty. Ooh. You don't just grab my titty unless you're like, yo, Greg, can I grab your titty? I'm like, sure, go ahead. But other than that, I don't see any reason to do that without asking. Tony Nese should be careful. I think he's going to have a power bomb day here. That's it. Ugh, he almost lost him. Poor Nese. Dan DeMan. 966. Appreciate the 5. Okay, so Punk asked Josh, the reporter, do you improv? Reporter said yes. Punk said, when did you improv? Who you do it? When did you improv? Who you do it with? Reporter said Scott Colton. Oh. So he was friends with Scott Colton. Did Colt Cabana plant him there? That's it for Nese. Yeah. Wardlow wins. Well, Wardlow, just keep working out, and you'll catch up to me eventually. You just got to keep at it, you know. Oh, no, that's good. Oh, who's up there? Oh, Sterling. I hate smart Mark Sterling. Who is that? Oh, Josh Woods. Is he at the mic?
That Wardlow's lost it. That the momentum's gone. Wardlow should do this. He should do that.
Oh, you've been reading the internet?
Tell you something. Wardlow is the TNT champion. And it's time for me to remind everybody in that locker room, everybody in this business, and all of my fans that have stuck by me since day one.
So Wardlow basically answering the... I don't think anybody's really been criticizing you, bro. I think everybody just wants good for you. And I know something that I was saying over the weekend when all this shit went down was that, you know, I was at Double or Nothing when I didn't even know if Wardlow was going to have a match. He said this himself in an interview. He's just supposed to be the biggest night of my life. And I didn't even know if I was going to be able to have that moment or not because of all the drama surrounding MJF. And it really kind of took away from his moment, took the attention away from his moment. So fans have been voicing that a little bit. And maybe the fact that he wasn't defending the title at the pay-per-view made people wonder, but I didn't even think that was really that big of a deal. Although they should have probably figured out, they had enough trios matches on there. They should have figured out a way to get him a challenger. Wonder what Jim Ross thinks of all this? Yeah. I'm wondering what a lot of guys think about this.
Sammy does something crazy. Darby does something crazy. But the one thing we haven't done is become the AEW champion. One time I would have considered you a friend, but now like I don't think anybody.
I thought I heard Jericho say that. Skull Vikings. Damn it, Jericho. I thought when he was cutting that promo, he said he was going to face Danielson next week, and I just thought I wasn't thinking right about the bracket or something. I'm like, oh, maybe that's right. I was like, maybe I have it wrong. I don't know. Well, here comes Danielson right now to take on Hangman. We will see. I need a fresh little Stella. While I'm gone, we got 96 likes. I'll be gone for 10 seconds. Can we get 100 by the time I get back? We are back. We achieved it. Right on. Good job. I was like, well, 3 fuckers really like this video in 10 seconds, but you did. Thank you. Not that you're fuckers. Andy, with all this going on, I don't see CM Punk coming back to AEW. I kind of don't either. And I kind of think it's best that way. Regroup, heal. Be hard to imagine the Bucks and Kenny not coming back. Because I believe it was the Bucks, Kenny, and Cody, right? Weren't they all offered WWE deals prior to the launch of AEW? They turned them down in favor of help beginning AEW. And that would be quite ironic if they, and 3 years later, they were all gone, but AEW still exists. It would they would lose their foundation, you know? And that would be a shame. I mean, AEW would continue; they'd be fine. You know, they still have tons of talent there. But you know, when it comes to looking back on how your company was built, and all those guys are in WWE, crazy, man. It would rival a little bit of WWE and WCW. Because everybody that built the foundation of Vince McMahon's WWE, not his father's, but his, like Hogan and Savage and guys like that, they all left and went to WCW. Same thing kind of happened. It's like everything that built WWE's popularity, you could never show video of because all it did was highlight WCW wrestlers. And so it was a weird time. A little bit similar situations if something like that were to happen. I have no idea the contract status of the Bucks or Kenny. If any of these deals are coming up within the next year, the Bucks might be like, well, WWE will still bring them in. I 100% believe they would. I love that CM Punk is like front and center on that AEW Fight Forever video game. It's fucked up, man. I mean, imagine all you John Cena haters that I've been fiercely defensive of John Cena for years, and I've always defended him. Because imagine the exact type of scenario we saw on Sunday happen with John Cena after a pay-per-view. Could you ever in your wildest dreams imagine something like that going down? No. He would never do that. Neither would Danielson, for that matter. That's why Danielson's my guy. Yeah, I've never been so staunchly behind any one opinion in my life than I am of Bryan Danielson needs to win this fucking title. 100% above Jericho, above Moxley, above Hangman, certainly above Sammy and Darby. He is the guy. He's the right guy at the right time. He's who you need. You need a place filler that's has more respect perhaps than the one he's filling in for, or not even filling in for, but replacing at this point. Moxley was just done being his replacement, and by no fault of Moxley's own, he suffered a clean loss to CM Punk. So going back with him isn't something I do either. I wouldn't even give Punk the satisfaction of knowing that he beat the current AEW World Champion, and that would be the case if Hangman won as well. And Jericho, and I just don't see it happening, especially since he's facing Danielson. If Danielson wins here, which means that's going to be Danielson getting his win back from All Out. So Jericho doesn't seem likely. Paige doesn't seem likely. Sammy and Darby doesn't seem likely. It's Danielson. It's fucking Danielson. It has to be. Another cool idea I saw floating around the interwebs last night was having a Dallas-inspired dream sequence. Back in the day, I used to watch this show with my parents when I was a kid. The show Dallas had this cliffhanger where I think it was Patrick Duffy's character, whatever it was called, died, and then everybody wanted to see the series premiere because holy shit, or the season premiere of the next season, because what's going to happen, and the fallout of this. And then he's just alive, totally alive and well, taking a shower, oh hey, what's up, to his wife, and the whole thing was a dream sequence. And I'm considering how badly the shit hit the fan, you got 4 champions now that you have to strip, suspend, possibly fire. One of them is your world champion who just beat the only guy who hasn't suffered a clean loss in your company. All that fucking sucks that you had to do all of this. It puts you in a terrible spot, and I just think that trying to rectify that as best as possible is what they should be going for here. So maybe if Tony was just it's wrestling, so why can't we just pretend none of it happened? Let's just start Dynamite with Tony Khan laying in his bed, with some nice music, like the end of Super Mario 2. Anybody ever beat that game? And the whole thing, Mario reveals at the end that the whole thing was a dream. Because he's laying in bed and you see all the characters coming up. And so maybe, I mean, it would be silly and stupid, but it might be a funny way to handle it. And Tony Khan's dreaming, and then you show clips of all the craziness and CM Punk and all the words that he's saying and all this shit and flash bulbs of the internet reports, you know, brawl in the locker room and what's going to happen. And, you know, and then Tony Khan just wakes up and says, oh, none of that happened. Moxley is still the champion. We haven't crowned the trios championships yet. All Out never happened. And instead, you just run all the matches back in another week, like a Tuesday in Texas type of deal, and just make it like it never happened. I think it might be funny, but that would cost a lot of money to do, and basically voiding a pay-per-view that people spent money on and bought a ticket to and all of that. Fucking crazy. But it would have been a funny way to handle it, I think. At this point, I'm 4 or 5 decades deep watching this shit. Nothing's really going to, do whatever you want. Wrestling's wrestling. We've seen some crazy-ass stuff. We've got people murdering their own parents and stuff in these storylines and fucking corpses. Who cares if Tony Khan wakes up and decides the whole last pay-per-view was a dream? Is it really weirder than anything else we've ever seen? No, not even close. So saying, well, that wouldn't make sense. I'm like, what does? What does make sense in wrestling? Every single match doesn't make sense. Every kick to the face, there's no blood, there's no bruise, there's no missing teeth. Sometimes there is. But don't say something doesn't make sense, because if you watch a 2-hour wrestling show, 6,000 things aren't going to make sense. So chill. Hit the like button, says Marcus. Appreciate you being here, Marcus, by the way, and all the other channel members. We are rocking and rolling on the memberships there. You can become a member clicking that join button below or the link in the description. And we have just got to set a date for the members. I haven't put a post up for that yet, but we have to decide 2 things. We have to find a time and a date and a show. So 3 things for September, sometime between now and the end of the month, to do a 2-hour review. Monday Night Raw, Nitro, 2-hour In Your House, ECW, Clash of Champions, anything that can be found on Peacock. We need to do a members-only watch-along this month. We just need to set a time for that and figure out what show we're going to do. So if you're a member, just hang tight. I'm going to talk to you guys. I'm going to put a members-only post up in the community tab tonight, and you guys can post your suggestions down there. And I'll look through them, and maybe I'll pick a few that I think I'd like to do the most, and then I'll put up a poll, and I'll pick the winner of that. So that's how we'll narrow it down. Kind of like how AEW is figuring out their title situation. So channel members, keep a lookout for that. Give me an hour after AEW Dynamite goes off the air, and I will have that up to you, and you can start throwing out your suggestions. Nice. Punk needs to start a podcast. Hey, I mentioned on Twitter the other day that I think Colt Cabana needs to do a podcast like the day after Thanksgiving explaining his side of the story. Because remember when Punk dropped that podcast back in 2014 completely unannounced after 9 months or 8 months or whatever it was of him walking out of WWE? And then I think it was either the day after or the day before Thanksgiving that he dropped it. Still to this day, well, actually, no, I think it has like 250,000 views on it or something. I thought it was my most viewed video, but actually my WrestleMania Memories one was before it got pulled down. But that was one of the videos that helped really get my channel going. One of the videos I've made the most money on in ad revenue, too. It still brings in money. I still get paid for that video like every month. It's crazy. And I was so low-tech back then doing my commentaries 8 years ago. I didn't even have I was called Good Mic Work, but I didn't even really have a proper mic. I do now. We got proper everything now. Thanks to y'all. Come on, Danielson. We know you're winning this. Put him in the Patty LaBelle lock, as Stokely Hathaway said. He's leaving on that midnight train to Georgia. Ooh. Ooh. Nice. Good shot with the ring post cam there. Nice, nice. Yeah, Doug, I mean, there's talk that Cody kind of had a falling out with the Elite too. And that, now that paints a kind of a little bit more of a clear picture with Cody leaving. Everybody was pissing their pants over that decision. Oh my God, it's the craziest thing. And he instantly almost was redeemed. The way he came in at WrestleMania and how they started pushing him. And that was still with Vince there. You know, and even when he got hurt, he was still able to look awesome in the process. I mean, Cody, it was like, well, even this guy getting hurt and being out for 9 months might turn out to be something that actually helps him, and because everything is really working for Cody. And now it just continues. Now AEW is crumbling. Sounds like there's a lot of personalities backstage that are a bit unsavory, and maybe Cody recognized that and just got out of that environment. And then in the meantime, Vince McMahon retires, Triple H takes over, ultimately improving to a great deal WWE's creative product, luring a lot of talent back in. I mean, just every single month that goes by, Cody's decision looks more and more smart. And many people thought he made the worst decision of his life. Many people who claim to speak facts. Jesus, that's a dangerous move. A fall away moonsault slam? God damn. So I've always preached, don't have such strong, firm of an opinion on everything. You know, you don't have to be so black and white. Try to look at shit logically. Cody's not fucking dumb. There's a reason. He thought about everything. He thought of all the things you're thinking of. Well, what are they going to do? How are they going to push him or whatever? I'm like, you don't know what goes into this. You don't make a decision this large that's going to affect the rest of your life in 5 seconds. You think about all of this stuff. And the fact that the fans don't think that the wrestlers think about this stuff, and then they come right out screaming and yelling, he made the biggest mistake of his life, and he betrayed AEW, and he's going to get treated like shit. And I'm like, well, let him make that decision then. That's his decision to make, not yours. And once he gets there, it turns out that he made the right decision all along. And here all these people so sure of themselves now look fucking stupid. So there's no reason to be so hardcore on one side of an issue. Like, look at it logically before you freak out.
I would never switch to Samsung. I love my phone.
Is Hangman going for some big running shit on Danielson here? He's down. That's a shame that was done in picture-in-picture because that kind of looked pretty good. Yeah, Divine, I agree. That's what they got to do, you know, because if you're AEW, all you can do is move forward from this. And that's why, you know, you can't dwell too much on what happened on Sunday because you can't not have any of that happen now. It's happened. All you can do now is deal with it. So the fans can dwell on it and stay behind and be stuck on that and that sort of thing. But AEW's got to move forward. And I think in terms of how they were supposed to handle this, they handled it probably the most perfect way. The fans, like I said, who already have that pre-contempt for Tony Khan and they just hate him no matter what, are going to find all sorts of problems with this because, of course, they are. It wouldn't have mattered what he did tonight. He's going to draw criticism. But at the end of the day, this is the right thing to do. He didn't come out to the ring, didn't make it about himself, didn't scream a terrible promo explaining what he's going to do to the fans. He did this in a nice, calm setting. It was a pre-tape. He could probably take it once or twice to get it right and announced what he's going to do. They removed the Bucks and Kenny and CM Punk from the intro. There's been no mention from what I've heard on commentary about either of those gentlemen. They've already crowned the Trios Championships tonight with the Death Triangle, and they set up this tournament to culminate at Arthur Ashe in 2 weeks to crown your new champion, and that's that. And in the meantime, you've got Moxley kind of rallying the troops in a promo. MJF is back, having fun out there. We've been treated to some great wrestling so far. Hopefully that talent meeting was a moment of, solidarity, that maybe some of the toxic pieces are going to be removed or dealt with, and we have to move forward. And, you're judged by, how you handle adversity, and if you can navigate this and, make the best of it and continue to move forward and deal with it, that's where you can gain a lot of experience, with Tony Khan. Because one thing that fans will say about Tony Khan is, oh, he's young and he's inexperienced. Well, he ain't going to be that inexperienced now, because not many wrestling promoters on his level. I know a lot of shit goes on in the indies and stuff, but a promoter on his level to have to deal with something this gnarly, this early on, now gives him maybe a template on how to deal with future situations, because he's basically already dealt with one of the worst he can deal with. He's also dealt with a roster member death, which was handled so well that it actually attracted CM Punk to AEW. So think about that. So when you think about how AEW handled Brody Lee and how they handled this, I think they've handled it very well. Now, you can argue that what happened at All Out shouldn't have happened at all, and if Tony Khan had a better handle on things, then it wouldn't have happened. I agree with that argument. But again, you can't change it. All you can do is fix it from here and move forward from here. So in terms of what they did tonight, I don't know what a wrestling fan could have asked for in terms of the best possible professional way that doesn't create this illusion of a double standard or anything like that. Those parties are now removed. If they would have stayed, or if nothing would have happened to them, that would have been worse. That would have been not the way to handle things. Pretend it didn't happen. Don't punish them after Eddie Kingston just got suspended. Have no repercussions at all. Then you're going to throw your locker room into utter chaos. So I think Tony Khan handled it right. Fans aren't going to want to hear that. But the truth is the truth, whether you believe it or not, basically, is the way I look at it. Oh. There's a whole bunch of truths that I wish weren't true, but are. So, well, it's stuff we all have to deal with. God damn. Jesus. So Hangman reversed out of that belly to back. Danielson took the bump. Oh, God. The fucking rolling lariat. It looked like it caught Bryan in the face, or there we go. There's a LaBelle lock. Come on. Danielson's my pick. Danielson all the way. Come on, tap out, Hangman. Danielson's my guy. All the way, baby. Skinning the cat. Nice. I thought that was a finish right there, but Page is still fighting. Oh, well. Victor Clone, $2 from you. Thanks. I wonder if AEW will remove Punk from the video game. I don't know how far along in production that they are. I mean, if they've already had those things printed, Punk's right on the front of the cover. It's going to cost a lot to fix that and to just shit can all of that previous media. I guess just the artwork. I guess it's just paper. They can just reprint new inserts, but haven't a lot of these things been made and sealed already? Or video games are all online now, so I don't know. You're talking to the wrong dude about a video game. You want to discuss cardiovascular surgery next? When it comes to video games, I don't know. But if Punk leaves the company, I would definitely remove him from the game, or at least from the game artwork. But it depends on how far along it is. It might be too far gone. Might not be able to take it away. Or it might just be not worth it. Wow. Danielson kicks out of the Deadeye. Okay, yeah, so it probably wouldn't be that much. Yeah, if they haven't physically printed copies and put them out for circulation or production or anything, then or for sale, then probably fix it. I would. Punk is leaving. He's off that. I mean, he's right there front and center in front of everybody, and it's not even that good of artwork. I can make something better than that. Let me do it. 12 years of making thumbnails, I can definitely make something pretty good for AEW. There. Oh, man, I would redo that. Yeah, okay, maybe that wasn't the finish anyway. He didn't hit the knees well, and Hangman rolled out. Oh. Oh, powerbomb on the apron. Yikes. Big moonsault. I'm digging this, guys, says Shivani. That's it. Yep. Got him with the bridge. Really good match. Yeah, when it comes to Hangman Page, based on, like I said, the information that we know, I don't really think he deserves any sort of disciplinary action. At worst, it's just what we saw here. You're just going to lose clean to Danielson in the tournament. That's it. We're not going to go with you right now for the title. That's all. But I don't think they were going to go with him anyway right now, so it doesn't matter. That moves Danielson into a rematch with Jericho, so there you go. Danielson will get his win back there, so you can guarantee that Danielson will be in the finals. And he might be probably going to be facing Moxley for the championship, because I can't see Moxley losing to Darby or Sammy after already losing to Punk. So we're going to have a Moxley and Danielson final here. And the question is what to do there. Many fans say put it back on Moxley. He was on a roll, and I agree. Had Moxley not lost to Jericho on Sunday or not lost to Punk on Sunday, I'd completely agree with that. But he lost clean. And like I said earlier, I don't know what the relationship with CM Punk and Tony Khan is. I know I had a meeting yesterday, but I am not giving Punk the satisfaction of knowing that he defeated the current AEW World Champion. And I'm putting the belt on a different guy, somebody that can fill the void you're going to lose by having Punk. Because now not only have you lost Punk, the performer, but you've lost a two-time AEW champion. So make another one. And we've already seen Moxley's already been a three-time AEW champion. He's going to be a four-time now? Why not put another guy and insert him into the spot that was left by CM Punk? And given the name value of CM Punk and how much he brings, the only other guy you really have on the roster in that scenario that's had WrestleMania main event victories and shit like that is Danielson. So Danielson, I'm not going to shut up about this until Arthur Ashe. Danielson. He's the guy. He's the guy I would do. Tony Khan, you listening? Danielson. WWE Fan 22, appreciate the $5. Do you think Punk got suspended, or do you think he asked for his release? Read the SI report that he could leave the company altogether. I did not read it. I will check it out, though. I don't know. Punk asking her for his release? Possibly. I just don't know. I mean, Punk he's a kind of an enigma in a lot of ways. sometimes when you think he can't be a bigger asshole, he'll turn around and want to do something good for the company. So I almost think that Punk is crazy enough to hate the Elite and the Young Bucks, decide that coming back to AEW was a mistake. He doesn't want to be there anymore, but maybe he feels an element of guilt that even though he does not feel he's in the wrong because before what Kenny and the Bucks did to him, or whatever, he still feels bad for what it did to the company and what it did for Tony Khan and what it did to us, the fans. So, all right, I'm going to leave the business, but I'm at least going to give your belt back to you in the proper way. I'll go out, I'll do the job. You can have it back. It's never been about creative for CM Punk. This has been about other issues. Clearly, he doesn't mind doing jobs because he got squashed just 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago on Dynamite or whatever it was. So it's not a big deal. Technically Mox is a 2-time champion. I wasn't sure if that victory over CM Punk officially made him a 3-time. I guess, yeah, because the first was interim. But yeah, it would just be another win for him, though, is my point. So you already have Moxley already there, already established. You've lost a chunk out of your top tier roster with Punk. Plug one in. Am I the only one that doesn't see complete logic in this? So that's why I'm going with Bryan Danielson. That's what I would do. And I would start building my company around, at least for the short term, in order to kind of recover backstage locker room morale. I would start building my company around Danielson, Adam Cole, Keith Lee, and guys like that. Claudio, and people that are there that have a good reputation, that don't play this nonsense, that have been to the big time or, have enough miles on their careers to where they know how to act and behave, that sort of stuff. And make those people, the ones with the best, kind of all-around reputation, make them your core, make them your locker room leaders. And they're the ones that aren't going to take any shit from anybody else now. And that way, when any other dust-ups happen, you're going to have to answer to us. All right, Stokely Hathaway's here. Morrissey looking like Sebastian Bach. We low on time. Stokely being tough, and he's like 4'11". Oh! You just hit me right in the fucking throat with the microphone. You know what? I wouldn't mind putting the title on Darby Allin either. Why not? F it. Make him their Jeff Hardy. I'm just trying to think of putting someone in who has that value that Punk did. But that's another direction. That's putting over a new star. Because Danielson's mostly just new to AEW. Oh, big boot. They have taken out this poor production kid. Why don't I know who the guy in the green hair is? He got knocked the hell out. Chris Tucker got it. Okay. Punk will go back to WWE just to spite AEW. Probably not. I don't know. I don't want a spite war because that's when wrestling competition can start getting less fun. Wrestling competition is fun provided you're just not too asshole-ish and spiteful and stuff, and WWE tends to be that way. WWE always ruins the fun, They ruin fun. They've never understood. It never would have ever crossed Vince McMahon's mind that doing some sort of serious co-promotion would be really fun for the fans. Oh, the WWE is the only one. They did the small co-promotions, and they had some affiliations throughout the years. But every time they have had something cross over, it's usually been pretty big business. But they want to be in their own universe there. was like they would never in a million years work with someone who they felt could show them up, you know? That's why they worked with little people. Sammy Guevara, Tournament of Champions. All right, we're getting Swerve in Our Glory in the Acclaimed. All right, this is going to be our main event tonight. Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia. Oh, West Side Gun is this guy? He's a rapper? Forgive me. I'm completely illiterate. Buffalo bred rap star and co-founder of something. Peace Fly God. West Side Gun. Available now. I better turn this down. I ain't trying to have West Side Story or whatever his name is copyright me. I understand that Tony had a front office, but obviously it needs some work. Well, these are all learning experiences, like I said, and this is going to put a ton of experience under Tony Khan's belt because he has now dealt with literally the most catastrophic scenario you could deal with in a backstage locker room. You lost 4 of your top guys at once, all of them being champions. That's worse than the Radicals leaving WCW. So, and now he has to manage what to do, how to punish these guys, how to do it without it harming, how to do the right thing without it costing the company too much, and how to balance what could be better for the company. You know, trying to gauge where everybody is at and where they're standing. But, you know, in the short term, if these guys don't get fired, I just think Tony Khan needs to make a rule. No more talent can be EVPs. Everybody is stripped of their roles. And the Bucks and Kenny need to apologize to the entire locker room for their part and whatever went down here, whether they feel like they're guilty or not, the way it ended. They owe a lot of people an apology. They owe the talent an apology for compromising a lot and potentially harming business in the long term with stuff like this happening. And, you know, they make enough amends. They have some sort of a punishment. They're fined, whatever. Then, in my mind, Tony did all he could do. And then same goes for CM Punk. Some people want him fired outright. I can't argue with that based on how he handled things. It doesn't even matter if CM Punk is completely right in his argument. Even if all the things he's saying about the Elite are true, for him to go off and publicly disparage at a public press conference right with your boss sitting next to you, all those guys, and act and behave that way with that amount of F-bombs and a mouthful of cupcake, that's the very definition of unprofessional. It literally defines it. So for people to say he should be fired, yeah, he kind of should be. But he's also a very huge star, so it might be better served for them to try to work things out and find some other punishment, which, you know, apparently now his punishment has been stripped of the title, him being stripped of the title, and apparently he's injured at the same time. If he wasn't injured, it might make things a little bit more interesting, but I mean, maybe Punk knew when he was at the press conference. Maybe he was injured, knew it, maybe didn't know specifically what was wrong, but maybe he was like, I know I'm injured enough to whatever's wrong with me here, I'm going to miss some time, and I'm probably going to be stripped of the title. So YOLO, you know, just fuck it. I'm just tear into these guys. I'm going to have to go home for a few months anyway. Maybe he was thinking of it like that. I don't know, but maybe it was the motion of that taking over or something. I don't know. But that's possible that maybe the injury was already on his mind, and he knew he wasn't going to be at TV to have to be confronted by these guys. So What are they chanting? Let's go Buffalo? Oh, WWE fan. Sorry about that. Appreciate the other $5. Tony can't be the whole front office. Vince couldn't even do it. Good mic work. If you were to put someone in that front office, who would it be? We talked about that the other day. I don't know. I think they have they've given some promotions out recently. They're trying to build that infrastructure, but I don't. It just depends on who would want the job, be good at it, has some experience doing it, that sort of thing. I'm not sure who I would really even put that. Well, Tony already has a front office, so to speak. The company runs just fine. Everybody gets their paychecks, and there's nothing that he needs done there. So when you mean front office, I think you just mean like more people around him. But he's got people in talent relations. He's got agents. He's got producers. Maybe he's booking too much. Maybe I know he takes input, and maybe he needs a more, a team of guys or a couple of trusted people that can help him filter through some ideas or whatnot, which I think he already does have. But I think he needs to have at least some stronger talent management for sure. That's why I think if AEW can establish somehow some sort of core leadership in the locker room, 3 to 7 guys that are going to be the law and order in there, and don't go back to the days of doing wrestler's court, but definitely have leadership at the top, and behavior like what happened at All Out will not be tolerated as of right now. Make sure you got some tough people in that position too. Make sure Keith Lee is one of these people, I mean, ideally, you need to have a completely unbiased person in the locker room that also has a close relationship with Tony Khan, that can be a narc, that won't play favorites or whatever, and can use their influence on Tony Khan for good. I mean, I know that's kind of bad, and it's like having a hall monitor, but if you have a locker room leader back there like a Jericho, who doesn't give a fuck about anything, just wants to make sure that everything is and morale is as good as it can be backstage. Maybe he reports back to him, hey, let's stop using this guy. He's being a little baby backstage. Every time I walk back there, he's complaining about something or being a dick, or he's, obnoxious or whatever, unprofessional, drunk, whatever. But I think maybe they just have to have stronger leadership at the top, perhaps, is oh no, Marcus, I missed you too? I did. Thanks for that $5 earlier, dude. Mox, Danielson, and Jericho becoming locker room leaders at the talent meeting is the best thing to come from this. Yeah, because they are some of the guys that have been there before and have been on the big stage and are veterans and have respect, and those are the guys that should emerge, like I said, and they'd be a perfect core. Maybe adding a couple of others, You got William Regal there, don't forget. Claudio is there. Everybody loves Claudio. Claudio would be another good guy just to, be at the top. Until all this Hangman stuff came out, I thought he'd be a good guy too. I've always heard great things about Hangman Page. But if he's friends with the elite, maybe he falls into some of that behavior that can be viewed as immature, because that's not the first time we've heard that stuff about the Bucks. I don't even think CM Punk is really all that wrong in what he's saying about them. It's just how he handled it almost trumps what they were doing. Even if Punk was right about the Bucks and the elite, what they did, in my mind, is less bad than what Punk did and how he handled that. Especially after he preached standing up for your coworkers and scolded people who went into business for themselves. What the hell do you call that, dude? As Garcia and Yuta whipped the shit out of each other. Oof, digging in. I feel like Garcia's going to win this title. I do like that Blackpool Combat Club is a faction that isn't completely represented in full in every match, you know? Like, just various members of the group can be out there. Oh, we've even seen promos with the Blackpool Combat Club where they're not all there. Oh, thanks for that, Nick Musser. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm aware of that Eddie Guerrero and Angle altercation. I remember all that stuff. And I'm trying to think though, a lot of those altercations we heard about in WWE, a lot of them always seem to be more rooted in things that happened in the ring. Or miscommunication in the ring, you get back there and you're screaming at each other or whatever, and, then you just squash it. This seems to be so much build and so much backstage turmoil that's been boiling and reaching its limit with Punk and the Bucks and Kenny, and they're not clearly very compatible personalities. And when Punk hears some of the reports that we all read, maybe he's automatically assuming it's them going to these people. So maybe Punk's wrong and he's assuming the wrong people. Because he even said in the press conference, in the scrum, he goes, and if it's not you, I apologize. So, so basically almost admitting that he's not totally sure who said these things. It's just these are the guys he thinks did it. Or he has direct confirmation from, hey, guess what? Nick Jackson called me, told me you were a piece of shit. I mean, if it's something like that, then show us the text message or something. I don't know, but he went awfully berserk, and that was very strange. Oh, thanks for that. Westside Gun is a huge wrestling fan. Has a whole mixtapes dedicated to wrestlers and wrestling angles. That's cool. Good for him. I'm glad that he seems to be well liked by the community. And he's not just some local scrub. People seem to know him, like him. Good for him. We would hope Garcia is going to get this big win. He got a special entrance. He got wrapped to the ring. That's pretty awesome. Divine Ricks, appreciate the $10, my friend, my brother, channel member, family member. I agree with you. Danielson is the right guy to be champ. Moxley already won it. Jericho doesn't need it. Sammy and Darby not ready yet. Plus, Danielson been on fire since he came to AEW. Yeah, I'm just looking for the best possible way to, you've always heard that analogy of, wrestlers are just cogs in the machine, so some gears are bigger than other gears. So, as the machine is moving, if you lose a big chunk, you kind of got to replace it with a big chunk. If it's a big industrial size steel bolt, you can't replace it with a tiny nail. You know what I mean? You got to replace it with something as sturdy or as strong. And that's why I just think Danielson is that right guy to add another big name guy with a lot of WWE recognition and a lot of WrestleMania moments and wins and some world championships. He'd be the perfect guy to come in and fill in for the spot that was left open by CM Punk. Not that you still can't have guys like Darby and other ones go in there, but it's like it's like when you lose a major champion like that, you can't just replace him with anybody, unless the champion. Now, if the champion was Darby Allin and then he got injured, then replace him with Sammy Guevara. Who cares? But this is CM Punk. This is the biggest star they currently have. So if I'm Tony, I'm looking at my roster and I'm looking at the next best thing to CM Punk, and Danielson checks every box. Name recognition, notoriety, respect, big time history in WWE and a big money maker for them. Respect of his peers, respect of the audience, and a suitable replacement to fill in the hole that Cupcake Muffin Punk left behind. Brock Lesnar, Zane, Good idea there. You could throw Brock Lesnar in the mix. But I think he's probably still tied to WWE. Sting is there, too. You can put the belt on Sting. Might be fun. But it's going to be weird, especially if CM Punk doesn't come back, which at this point it's not looking likely. But this guy is going to be a 2-time AEW champion and have no title defenses. That's crazy. Crazy. Adam Cole's another guy. I would definitely start building the company and make him a big part of the top of the roster as well. Another guy. Great matches, great on the mic, great reputation. He's one of the best people in the business, one of the nicest wrestlers ever, nicest can be to fans, great reputation on his streaming channel, just an overall good dude. Fucking definition of who you'd want as your poster boy. So he's another guy. AEW finally put Vacant over. Vacant has finally won a championship. Yeah, exactly, Rodrigo. You could do Wardlow, you could do Keith Lee, but those are future guys. I'm looking for an immediate, suitable replacement for you, CM Punk. Daniel Bryan's similar size, comes from a similar era, has similar success in WWE, and like I said, has all that respect. He is the best guy right now. Ton of guys can be world champion in AEW. I got no problem with any of these suggestions. I'm talking about right now. Danielson's the best. Nobody's better. Nobody better. Big Garcia chant. I feel like, it's Garcia's match to win here. Looks like special gear, special entrance, main event. Give this kid a moment, man. Ugh. Got the sharpshooter. WWE fan, appreciate the $2 as Wheeler Yuta fights out of the sharpshooter. Sting, I would hope, is a locker room leader. I'm sure he is, but Sting, even though he's an active wrestler, he's an old man. I'd put him with William Regal. Sting and Regal should be there as men that should just be ultimately and always respected no matter what, and should always be approached with respect and treated with respect, and I'm sure that they are. But in terms of being actual leaders, I think you need a locker room in there every night leader. 2-minute warning. We're not Broadwaying this. This is Garcia's match, man. You better. Oh, no, that was a warning. I thought they were saying 2-minute warning. Oh, he got a warning for using. That's right. Ring of Honor Pure's got a whole bunch of weird ass. Oh, man. Restrictions up. There's another sharpshooter by Garcia this time. That's right. He punched Garcia in the mouth, so he got a warning. Oh, yo, Rose Scythe. Is that the Rose Scythe? The Rose Scythe that helps me out with some of my my countdown songs and stuff? Right on. Hey, see Rose Scythe here that sent me that $5 super chat, y'all? Go subscribe to his channel. He's got some great cover themes and a lot of good wrestling stuff on there. Thanks for chiming in. I'll read that chat in 1 second. Looks like they're going to a finish here with Yuta and Garcia. Dragon Tamer. That's it. Got 2 minutes left in the show. Minute and a half, maybe. He's got it. He's got his. That's interesting. He tapped. All right, wow. Love the ovation. That's what we needed. I think that's a great way to bounce back from the turmoil. Really good, solid, just wrestling match in the main event. Void of any drama, questions, speculation. just wrestling. Look at these guys in the front row. Right on. Bro, here comes Danielson. This is kind of cool. Oh, man, I can't wait to answer that question, Rose Scythe, because I definitely have some answers probably. Oh, Yuta. Yuta not liking it. And the handshake. Got the code of honor. What's Danielson doing? Oh, he ripped it out of his hands. He's just going to put it on him. That's going to, what, make Jericho mad, I suppose? Straighten the belt out. Crooked motherfucker. Leon Ruff wore the North American title better than that. Look at Jericho. What is going on? Ooh, Claudio and Dax Harwood on Friday. That'll be good. And next week we have Jericho and Danielson again. This time to move on to Grand Slam to become the champ. Right on. All right. Well, that is the end of Dynamite. Whew. Wow. Anyway, let me answer the super chat from Rose Scythe. Who in AEW is due for an entrance theme overhaul? Who would you want to see music cover of? And Rose Scythe does some really good wrestling covers. He's allowed me to use WrestleMania and Royal Rumble themes. Even in my Winged Eagle Countdown, I use... I think I use like the SummerSlam one or whatever. So his link is in the description of all the videos I use him for. But he's got really good stuff over there. So go check it out. Also, assuming this is a he I'm talking to. So, sorry, I should ask that first, Rose Scythe. But thank you for all that you do. In AEW, they got some really good themes. I don't know who would have, who would be the best candidate for a cover. Perhaps MJF or something, because his, you could put some rock influences into it or something. I don't know. Maybe you could spice his up a little bit. Maybe Claudio's might be fun. But AEW's got awesome themes. Wouldn't mind a Bucks one. Bucks or Kenny would be good, provided they're still in the company in the next few months. I don't know, but you could do a lot, dude. There's a lot of guys. Ricky Starks would be another good one. Yeah, CM Punk was so beloved just a year ago. Even Punk called Adam Cole a sweetheart. Yeah, that's right. In the scrum he did. So just to recap what we saw tonight on AEW Dynamite, the show opened up basically with Tony Khan doing a pre-tape backstage and very briefly just said he is crowning new Trios champions and an AEW World Champion. The Trios belts would be decided tonight on Dynamite. Best Friends and Orange Cassidy taking on Death Triangle. And we would start the process of a tournament that would culminate at Grand Slam in a couple of weeks where we would crown the new AEW champion. So Danielson is going to face Hangman Page tonight on Dynamite. They have Darby Allin set to face Sammy Guevara on Rampage. Tonight, Danielson defeated Hangman Page clean, and he will now go on to face Jericho in the second round. Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley both got first-round buys, kind of like Hogan and Andre at WrestleMania 4, because they are both former AEW champions. And now that Danielson will go on to face Jericho, I think it's pretty obvious that he's going to beat Jericho since Jericho beat him at All Out and move on to the finals. Moxley is awaiting the winner of Guevara and Darby Allin. I fully expect Moxley to beat both of them, and I think we're going to get Danielson and Moxley in the finals once this happens. So that's what AEW has set in place. They removed CM Punk, the Bucks, and Kenny from the AEW intro. Tony Khan never mentioned them by name in his explanation. During our live reaction, granted I was talking a lot, I didn't hear the announcers mention any of these parties by name. If they did, please let me know. AEW even shut down a Max Caster rap tonight, which was really well booked. We even mentioned yesterday or last weekend, oh, wow, can you imagine what Max Caster is going to say on Dynamite? But he comes out to begin his rap and is then interrupted by Swerve Strickland. So AEW did a lot of clever things tonight. They also allowed Jon Moxley to cut a very passionate promo. He seemed very pissed. It had a lot of Rock after Austin took his ball and went home vibes when Rock came out and cut that promo, kind of rallied the troops and rallied the fans. What Moxley was doing felt a lot like that. And he came out right after excuse me, he came out right after MJF did, who also had a lot of fun with the crowd, kind of pretended to be a babyface for a minute before he totally healed on them and really tried to make his presence known. That's when Moxley came out and said everything that he said. We also got really good wrestling on the show. The trios match was really good. We had a pretty good women's match tonight. The main event between Garcia and Yuta was fantastic, and AEW seemed like they were moving on forward as best as they can, because you can't change what happened. You can't undo what happened on Sunday. So, yes, granted, none of that stuff should have happened, and AEW and Tony Khan especially, and Kenny and the Bucks and Punk and everybody needs to accept their part and the responsibility in this, but at the same time, you can't change it. All you can do is move forward now. So in terms of what Tony Khan did now, with the way he made this announcement, he didn't come out in the middle of the ring yelling and screaming and looking crazy like he always did. He kept it short, simple, to the point. It wasn't over animated. It was just a short pre-tape where he let the fans know what was going to happen, and we're going to move on. Sounds like they had an AEW talent meeting today where Chris Jericho kind of emerged as the locker room leader, and Moxley tonight doing and saying what he did on the mic, I think also helped, and I think AEW is trying to move past all of this toxicity in their company, and when you look at AEW, that's all they can do. For those out there that are so hell-bent on just holding so much contempt and hate in their heart for AEW or Tony Khan for whatever reason, or however you're influenced online, or whatever makes you hate these people you'll never meet for no reason, what did you expect out of them tonight? Tony Khan, in my mind, did everything he should have done. Granted, maybe all the stuff shouldn't have happened to begin with, but I still think the way he handled it, what else was he supposed to do? You combine CM Punk's injury to this as well. Looks like he was going to be not coming back to wrestle anytime soon regardless of this. There was no other option for Tony Khan other than to, at least at the minimum, suspend people. Some people think fired, but at least these people have to be suspended until shit gets worked out, strip everybody of their titles, and he even went as far as to take them out of the intro and make no mention of them on TV. Him handling this any other way could have been bad. Him handling this any other way, like not suspending guys or crowning interim champions or mentioning CM Punk and all of that, would have been viewed as a double standard. Normally after a pay-per-view, the first show after a pay-per-view, what do? You show countless replays of what happened in the main event. They did not show CM Punk beating Jon Moxley. I mentioned myself that it just sucks they had to beat Jon Moxley, because if they didn't, if this would have all happened prior to All Out, and Punk and Moxley then got canceled or scrapped or whatever, at least Moxley remains protected. But this whole nonsense not only caused you to have to beat Moxley clean in a match that I really wish we could take back now, and you have to overshadow MJF coming back at the same time. So all of this stuff was a complete mess, and it just sucks that you had to do that to Jon Moxley. So I just wish that maybe this could have been avoided or whatever, but all you can do is just move forward. It's a shame what happened to Moxley, but at the same time, if anybody can bounce back from this type of stuff, Moxley can. And if CM Punk ever does come back to AEW, I certainly can't see them putting the belt back on him now. I kind of feel like he has to be done, or he eventually will be done, unless cooler heads prevail. Maybe people want releases. Maybe some people want to go to WWE. I have no clue the contractual status of anybody, how much time's left on the Bucks contract, how much time is left on Kenny's contract, how long of a deal Punk signed, probably 3 years. If there are any out clauses in these things at all, if Tony Khan can strip Kenny and the Bucks of the EVP status but keep them on as workers, or get everybody, in a room and agree just to put everything behind them. But even if they're not EVPs anymore, that doesn't mean that Kenny and the Bucks still can't feed these stories about CM Punk. You're going to have to somehow put aside this animosity and try to maybe perhaps make money with this. The only problem is one of these personalities is CM Punk. And if anybody else, as we've seen in the past with Matt Hardy and Edge and Kevin Nash and Ricky Morton and all these weird scenarios where guys have taken personal beefs and used it to make money, I almost feel like it would just be too hard to get done with a personality like CM Punk. And how are you going to be able to work with a guy that just got calling you an empty-headed, brainless fuck, a fucking child, can't manage a target, and just inept and a complete moron in every possible way? It would be hard for me to get over that and put that aside to make money. But if we're talking about millions of dollars here, then I can definitely do it. But can Punk? He's already got millions of dollars. So do the Bucks, apparently. But, CM Punk, is it even worth it to him to do this or, to make money off of it? It would certainly help AEW if they turn this into an angle. But that's way down the line. We have to find out the status of and severity of Punk's injury, how long he'll even be out. Is Tony Khan suspending these guys temporarily while he decides what to do, or is his mind already made up? Everybody is going to be suspended, fined greatly, and everybody is going to be required to make amends in the locker room, just like Austin was required to do when he came back. Go and approach everybody and tell them you're sorry for what you did to them. And if that's what is done, then everybody can come back and work and resume life as normal. But, that's the minimum punishment. That's the very least they should do. So many people might find that not to be harsh enough, and Punk should be fired. And I'm not even sure if I totally agree with Punk being fired, but I can't disagree with people who feel that way. If you feel that based on what Punk did at that presser, the way he behaved and talked down to executives in the company with your boss sitting right there, in the real world, that would be a fireable offense, yes. So if you feel that way, Greg can't disagree. It's just sad all around that this happened, and it's sad what a hypocrite Punk turns out to look like here. Even if he has like a gripe, and he's got a reason to be a little bit pissed, it's like he's ruined it now. He's in the wrong. Now he's outdone anything that they've done to him because he just severs ties and has falling outs with everybody, sometimes for the smallest things, like him and Hornswoggle and the phone number or whatever. So you just never know with him. And he seems to be something, just a bad addition to the locker room that apparently was already not in a good place. Now that in hindsight, it's becoming apparent that perhaps Cody left because of his falling out with the Bucks and the Elite, and maybe some of their more infantile or childish political behavior behind the scenes, because these guys have never been on the WWE level before or on a big level. They've performed in front of some big crowds and have developed a reputation, but they've never really been on that really big stage. And now they're coming in and they're giving introductory executive levels. Maybe it did expand their heads a little bit, and maybe it did make them behave in ways they shouldn't. And maybe they just really weren't the type of people who should have been put in executive jobs. And so when you combine that with the personality clash of CM Punk, yeah, that's going to create one fucking hell of an explosion. And it did. So Punk comes in, acts like he's all happy to be there, crying upon his return, praising the locker room. He wants to work for them. You should stand by your locker room, your coworkers, even if you don't like them, no matter what, to which Miro laughed out loud at. And then he comes in a year ago to help the company to take it to that next level, and he has the literal exact opposite effect. So sad. So sad. But anyway, that's the deal. That's what we saw tonight on AEW Dynamite. I want to thank everybody for joining tonight. I had a pretty good audience for this. It was a lot of fun. Glad people, excuse me, really happy that people were able to tune in and watch this with me, because we've been talking about it ever since Sunday, that this Wednesday was going to be pretty interesting and pretty crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. We have the next scheduled podcast is going to be on Saturday, because there's probably going to be a lot more to talk about regarding this situation. We will learn more tomorrow. We'll learn more on Friday. We'll also learn who wins the Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin match. So on Saturday, we'll have a pretty hearty podcast, I'm sure, to talk about all of that and maybe even get some confirmation on the Malachi Black situation. Looks like he has indeed been given a conditional release. So we'll talk about that and everything going on in WWE land and anything else learned. If we get some sort of big news dropped tomorrow, if AEW releases a statement tonight, if AEW releases a statement that says CM Punk is released, then I will be up here to do a review on that. So, or a mic drop on that or some sort of a quick video. We'll be here doing something. But anyway, thanks again for being here. Smash the thumbs up button on your way out the door, and please subscribe if you have not yet already. And we will catch you on Saturday for sure, possibly a day earlier if we get more bombshells dropping. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Peace.